Do you fear these shots? Do you chunk them? Do you thin them? Did you know the short game, this right here by the green, is the #1 spot where you're losing most of your strokes on the golf course? Well, not anymore. You're gonna go from fear to confidence, from doubt to certainty, from double bogey to par, even birdie sometimes. You're gonna know the short chips. You're gonna know the long chips. We're gonna go over good lies, bad lies, and everything in between. You're gonna know what club to use, when, and why. You're gonna have your go-to shot for every scenario. No matter where you find yourself, you're gonna have a shot to play and feel great about it. And we're not even gonna change your swing. You're not gonna learn the secret of the pros, but you're gonna learn the secret that every amateur needs to hit great shots. Now, you might think you're hopeless. You might think this is some gimmick. Maybe you're thinking, who's this guy? He can't help me. I'm just the guy who's made thousands of YouTube videos. And I'm the guy who was just like you, when I started, this was the area that gave me the worst trouble ever. But when I finally figured out how to deal with all the shots from around the green, what to hit, why to hit, when to hit it, where to hit it, I took my game from starting golf to 3.5 years later playing Division I college golf. All because my short game was fixed. And with a bad swing, we managed to play pretty well. And so will you. So if you want to transform your game, buckle up for this short game chipping series that will get you where you've never been before. So let's get transformation underway. Here we go. We're gonna work on the thing that we have to figure out first, and it's how to set up when we're chipping. If you set up perfectly, then you're gonna have the best possible chance to hit good shots every single time. And we're gonna make this simple for you because we're gonna set up exactly the same way for every single chip shot in this video. So you're not gonna need 10 different setups for all these different scenarios. Everything is identical. That's what I needed to learn so that I had consistency and I didn't have to think out there. This is how we do it. So here's what we're gonna do. For every chip shot we're gonna hit, our feet are gonna be 1 club head in width. That's it. So that's it. That's how close our feet are together. This is your chipping foot width right here. And then all I'm gonna do is, where's my weight? My weight is not back. I'm not gonna be able to lift up my left foot, my front foot. I want to be able to lift up my whole right foot right here. And then I'm just gonna set it down. That's my weight. Where's my weight? So 1 club length width, almost all my weight is gonna be on my left side, right there. Just lift it up and then touch the ground with it. That's it. Keep it that way for every single shot. Where's our hand position gonna be when we're chipping? Put the club in your belt buckle and then move it right to your left pocket. Just the beginning of the pocket. That's where our club handle will be. Set the club head in the center of our stance and the club handle at the beginning of our left pocket. That is your setup. Then just grab the club right here. How far away do we want to be from the ball? That's a huge question. For every single chip shot, I'm going to be this far. I'm going to be touching myself. My hands are touching my body, and then I move them 1 fist away from my body. That's where the handle is. That's where my hands hang. And my weight is on the balls of my feet, so I'm slightly leaning forward. Then I don't care how much we bend over or not, that's personal preference, but I just want our weight slightly on the balls of our feet and forward. That's gonna be your setup for every single chip shot that we do, right there. And don't worry, sometimes we do chip with the 7-iron. The chip shot is identical. Ball in the middle of our feet, club width, weight, club handle, identical. weight forward. This is our 7-iron setup here, and this is our wedge setup. It is identical every single time. Once we start manipulating a bunch of stuff, we add problems. We want to subtract problems. And we're just going to do the exact same thing every single time. And the last piece of setup is this. As we go for longer clubs, this is the only variable, and it's not really a variable at all. We're going to be choking down on the club. And how do we know how much to choke down after we set up like this? I want my hands to hang right there. That's where I grab. So it's going to be different for everybody, and the longer the club is, the more you're going to choke down on it. But I just want my hands to hang relaxed. We can't chip if we're too tense. And so we let our hands hang low and just pick it up a fist from my body. There we go. And wherever it is, that's where you're grabbing the club, right there. Sometimes you might even almost be touching the shaft. That's okay. Same setup. I want our body to be identical every single time so that when you have a little 7-iron chip, it's not a problem. Little chip and run right there. And then when we go to a wedge, it's identical. I'm not moving. Same thing. Everything is identical. That's your setup. Now you can start actually chipping. This is going to be our go-to shot for every chipping scenario. Not that we're going to use this every single time, but it's going to be like our first thought is, can I use this shot? It's the 7-iron chip and run. And I'm going to show you different scenarios where you might not think this is the go-to shot, but it actually is. But let's just first learn it in like a scenario where you would probably grab a 7-iron. The pin's far away. We have plenty of green to work with. We have a little bit of grass to carry that we don't want to putt through. We want to carry over it and let it roll the rest of the way. A lot of this happens on the golf course. You know the basic setup now. So let me get my basic setup. Perfect. One of the dangers in this shot is when you back that ball up in your stance. A lot of times people have this, they want to back that ball up and move the hands forward. I'm not necessarily against that, but when you do that, you're backing that ball up, you're moving the hands forward, you just turned your 7-iron into a 4-iron. And now you're chipping running with the 4-iron, and it's all of a sudden not a 7-iron. And you're way over the back of the green. So that's why we want that one setup. Ball's in the center of our stance, weights forward, choke down a little bit. Here I am, and I'm very relaxed. We have to think of this like this. It's a long putt. That's all we're doing. I'm putting the ball with my 7-iron. I just want to land it just on. The closer you get to the ball, the easier it will be for you. I want the heel just slightly off the ground if you can. That's going to be better than the heel digging into the ground. So if there's a mistake to be made, get too close to the ball here in this scenario, not too far away. And here, if there's a mistake to be made with your hands, they're in the middle. They're not way too far forward. So that's where your mistakes come in, is when you jam the hands too far forward. So let's just, feet are together, hands up, here we go. Everything's good. It's just a long putt. And notice my finish position is right here. If I'm trying to keep my hands forward the whole time, it's going to shut the face and I'm going to look like this. That's not what we want. If my hands start forward and I keep them there, the club head actually will pass my hands. My hands are still forward because I didn't do anything. So don't try to hold your hands forward. Just let the triangle position here hold its structure the entire time. You're just rotating your entire body and chest and hips together. If you set up correctly and all goes according to plan, you can actually hit slightly behind the ball and everything will be fine. So this is your basic 7-iron chip and run shot, easy scenario. We're gonna go over a couple more where you wouldn't think you'd use this shot, but in actuality, you're gonna start thinking of it more often. This is kind of an extreme situation, but we find ourselves in this all the time. Let's say we're going to this pin back here. You might be tempted to grab your 60-degree wedge and hit the ultimate shot of your life, only to come up short and be frustrated and then have to chip it again. Like we said earlier, we want to start thinking that this is our first go-to shot for every scenario. Start there. So if I think that way, then I'm like, okay, if this is my 7-iron chip and run, let me set up like we talked about. Okay, feet together, weight forward. Okay, I got to choke down. I got to choke down quite a bit. Hands are even on the steel. And then I'm chipping it into the grass and letting it run up. Is this your normal chip and run scenario? It should be from now on. I just hit the ball. It's the exact same swing. It's the exact same motion every single time. I'm just taking out all the big numbers. And with a few little practice shots, all of a sudden, we have a good look at saving par, making a birdie on a par 5. Regardless, we just saved at least one stroke. Now look, for this 40, 50-yard shot, most of us would again grab our most lofted club and play the shot. It's a tough shot, tight lie, and obviously a pro would know what to do here. But it doesn't always work out. But you know what does always work out? More often than not, when there's nothing in the way, is a 7-iron chip shot. Don't be afraid to do exactly what you've been working on. Just make it a little bit longer swing. When I started the game, when I was trying to become the best player I could be, this accomplished many things. 1, it saved shots. 2, I learned how to hit the ball in the center of the club face more often because I'm taking a shorter swing. So that ball contact skill level went through the roof. So with the exact same setup and the exact same fundamentals, you're just gonna take your little chip and run and make it a 50-yard chip and run. Now we're putting versus chipping again, or chunking it again, or having a blow-up hole. We're taking out all the problems and bringing in opportunity. That's your basic go-to chip and run when you're anywhere near the green, around the green, we can see the green. Always, always, always start thinking this first. Now in a scenario like this, yeah, you could use your 7-iron chip and run, but you probably want to go a little higher. Not much green to work with. You got a little bit more grass to carry. So 15 feet of grass and 20 feet of green. It's kind of that 50-50 zone. We have to go high. In none of these videos am I going to torture you and have you use a 60-degree wedge. Most people don't need that. The average player shouldn't have it. We're going to use a 54. This will just save your life. 54 degrees, we have 10 degrees of bounce on it. Bounce is how much the sole drops below the leading edge. That's the bounce. This is what is going to engage with the turf, the earth, the grass. That's going to help you do just everything. So the bounce is for you to use and utilize. So we want to go high, but I'm not going to use a 60. And I'm not gonna change our basic setup fundamentals. We're gonna do everything exactly the same. We're just gonna get a higher shot. Now I didn't say high shot, higher. We always wanna go as low as possible is going to be more beneficial for you. So even if we're using a max lofted club, we wanna go as low as possible with the most loft even. So It sounds a little confusing or counterintuitive, but it's definitely gonna give you the most control of your golf shots. And people always talk about like tension. We want relaxation. Once you tense up and tighten your muscles, so how do you stay relaxed? I'm just shaking out my hand like this ahead of time. Just shake it out. I'm bouncing a little bit here. And what I like to do is aim my club face at the hole where I want to go. Where's my aim? All we're gonna do is aim a little more to the left. So just think about that. The shorter the shot, the more left you want to aim your feet. So I'm just gonna turn my feet here from square to left. And I'm gonna keep that ball. I always like to put that ball position and that club first and then move my feet. And as you move your feet, don't move forward. Move like this and weights forward. So now everything's the same. I'm just pointing way more left. And my club face is always where I want the ball to go. So I want the ball to go at the hole. I'm not changing my club face to the left as I aim left. Club face stays the same, my feet turn left. Here we go, hands stay right where they were before. Weight is forward. Everybody wants to know what's the feeling we're going for with these shots. I want my right elbow in my stomach, like on the right side of my stomach here. And I'm just feeling, if anything, that right elbow is hitting my stomach and pushing it to the side, like here. That's the feeling. Not this. We're not rolling the hand over. We're just serving it like that. How do the hands work? It's not left hand, it's not right hand, it's both hands work together. Right here. While that right elbow is in my stomach. Club face, get my feet to the left, leaning over on my balls of my feet, weight forward, elbow in stomach. Everything looks the same as the other chip and run. Finishes here, not here, not here, right here. That's our structure every single time. And never, ever, ever try to do anything other than that motion. What's the feeling on the grass? We're gliding the bounce across the grass. We're not taking a giant divot. That's what that bounce is for, to glide through the grass. It's gliding. So if you think about sliding it under the ball, that's the correct use of the bounce. That's how you're gonna tackle ones where you gotta get a little extra height on the shots. What do you do when you have a bad lie? Hard pan, tight lie, divot. I'm gonna make it simple for you because I needed it simple for me. We're gonna give you two options only. We're gonna go through the exact same process, but I'm gonna show you how it works so that it doesn't cost you more shots than it needs to, because that's the worst. 4 shots later, you're like, oh, if I only hit a better shot. It's not hitting a better shot, it's knowing what to do and taking out indecision. Come on. I wish somebody taught me this stuff when I was learning, but they didn't. It was just fend for yourself, good luck. I would grab my 60-degree wedge and manufacture something that never worked. It's not even that bad of a lie, but it's kind of in an old divot. So what do? Well, eliminate the big number. That's what we do. What's our number one go-to shot? 7-iron chip and run. So that's always gonna be our first thought. Can I 7-iron chip and run this? Well, if I do that, the worst thing that's gonna happen is I have a 10-foot putt. That's about the worst. I'm gonna go to this first hole. So that's what I like. Let me take my little setup here that I know and love perfectly and see if that's the right play. It's kicking 2 foot. I didn't even hit it good. I just brushed it. I hit a little behind the ball. In that scenario, that was the right play. So always go to 7-iron first. Even if you're this close, you can always chip it through the grass. But what if it's worse? Then what do you do? Now that's a proper divot, if you ask me. That's beautiful. And you never want to be there, but we are. You are. We're in it together. Okay, go-to is 7-iron, so that's what we're gonna go first. And I probably have to run it through some grass, not a problem. And I'm not gonna make great contact. Fantastic. So let's see if with our knowledge and our basic setup, everything's exactly how we do, is 7-iron the play? I tell you what, based on that lie, 15-foot putt, 100%. In that scenario, 7-iron is the best. I don't even need to think about pitching wedge because that we're fine with in the scenario. It's only gonna get better. That's probably as bad as you're gonna do. Don't be frustrated with great results. That's great for this scenario. But there's more. There's way more. Well, it wouldn't be Arizona if we didn't find ourselves in the desert. I don't even have that much distance to cover, but we would typically go pitching wedge here or some type of wedge. We're in trouble though. We're in a bad lie. Our go-to shot is a 7-iron, so that's always our first thought. Here's something to consider. When you're in a situation like this, hard pan, desert lie, that scenario, the shorter the swing, the less risk of injury. So the slower the swing speed, the better. So 7-iron here, I don't hate, because I don't want to hit a giant rock or do something crazy. And I want to get the club on the ball as quickly as possible. And I want the ball traveling toward the hole as soon as possible. So everything's the same. I might just aim my feet a little more left because I want the ball to get a little more height like we did in a previous video. So I'm gonna kind of do that. Weight forward, choke down, and it's a long putt scenario. From that desert, I'm right here with a 7-iron. Rolled almost the entire way. 15-footer. So far, you can see in bad lies, 7-iron is going to be your play probably 90% of the time if you want to save strokes. There is a scenario where I would use a wedge, and we'll cover that now. So this is something, if I had a great lie, I would probably go more lofted, like a sand wedge or something, but I got it sitting down pretty good. And we're in the rough, and we got rough to carry. So the 7-iron here, that would be risky. Here's what would happen if we did the 7-iron out of this rough, like we do. Unless we get that lucky, it's not gonna happen. Don't use this. That's gonna run way off the green. So this is the scenario where I would go with the pitching wedge. Same setup, same everything. All I care about is getting this ball in the air, maybe to here. It's gonna come out faster, hotter, and roll. So I don't need to carry it on. We got this downhill. I'm just trying. All my goal, okay, in bad lie situations is to get the ball moving toward the hole. And so in this scenario, we want it moving toward the hole, and we just got to get it above the grass. That's kind of the thought process here. So it's that same thing, short swing, just get a club on the ball. That's why we're going a little more loft here. That's beautiful. I mean, if we didn't accidentally hit the flagstick perfectly, the first one's down by the driving range. So in this scenario, bad lie, in rough, go with a little pitching wedge and keep that swing as short as possible. Now you will know what to do with these chip shots. It's not quite a pitch. Say pitch is 30 yards, 20 yards and more. We're right here just off the green and we want the ball to roll the hole, but there's something in the way. High rough, you're in the rough, we got bunker, something just to barely go over. What do? So this is where we're gonna use our sand wedge. This is my 54 degree. So same setup as you know and love, but we're gonna make one switch, one tiny little adjustment to what you do. And when you do this, this is a little bit next level chipping. It's gonna unlock something for you and you're gonna start utilizing this more and more in your practice. But when you're on course, this is all you gotta think about. Simple. Same exact setup as always. Feet same width, weight the same. I'm gonna slightly aim left, we're good. All I'm gonna do is when I take the club back, is I'm gonna just kind of push it a little farther out this way. That's it. One thing we have to know is every chip shot, everything, if you start manipulating the club face by rolling those hands open, it's going to ruin everything. So we don't want to roll the hands and we don't want to bring it way inside and roll the hands. So always, 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 we call quiet hands. Quiet hands, meaning they just go back. You're just turning your shoulders, turning your arms, turning your body, never twisting or turning or setting your wrists at all. So our basic setup, everything's perfect. So all I'm gonna do is just push it slightly out this way, a little bit. What does that do? We're trying to get the club to travel through the grass easier. So if it's lower here and there's rough, there's a tendency that that club will grab too soon in that rough. Also, that ball will come out a little lower and it could catch something early that we don't want. So if we're here, the club is higher and it comes down this way. It's almost like a cut shot across the ball. It's coming in a little steeper at a better angle. It's putting a side cut spin on the ball, which helps it get a little higher in the air and stop a little bit sooner. Just push it slightly away this way. And you see how nice and high that went? Had a little cut spin on it. Same with all of these little shots. Don't change your setup. All we're doing is pushing that back out here. When that club wants to grab, it goes through easier. If I did that same swing from the same position and I went way in here, you see how much lower it goes. We don't want that. We want more opportunity for that ball to get in the air and carry and cover the danger that's in front of us. So that's how you're gonna approach out of the rough, over the corner of a little bunker when you have to carry a little bit taller rough. It's just, you're just pushing that handle, that club face, that club a little bit farther away this way. But we're still getting the same body rotation every single time. Same everything. Let it come together. Practice that one and try it on the course. And you'll see like, oh, simple. When I learned this, unlocked a whole nother level. But it's all tied into our basic setup, everything. I couldn't figure out, is it my left hand? Is it my right hand? How do they work? And then you start using your body and is it this? And you get way off track. When all you really have to do is get your hands to work together and the body will work by itself. You don't have to even worry about that. But I didn't know how to get my hands to do that. I didn't even know I needed to do that. I just watched some pros and I would see some of them hit shots with their right hand only. And I was like, well, maybe that's the secret. And so I did that a lot. And then I saw some pros. They did the same thing, except they used only their left hand. And so I was like, oh, maybe that's the answer. So I spent countless hours doing both, trying to figure out which one it was. And then I realized that, you know what? When I did each one, all of a sudden, that was better. So then I realized, oh, how do I get my hands to work together? Well, you're gonna do chip shots. Just do some with your left only. And finish in this position here. Just get to here, right there. Then do some with your right hand only. And finish in that position there. It's the same thing. So do some, and you'll notice that, oh, sometimes when I flip my wrist, that happens. So, okay, don't. So I use too much wrist there. Oh, there we go. That was a good one. And then I'd go back to my left hand, okay? And I do the same thing. I'm like, oh, that felt good, yeah. So this is your drill. I want 5 left, 5 right, 5 left, 5 right, and then go all together. And you'll find that by doing left, and right, that all of a sudden together is the answer. It forces everything to work together. If you do it separately, a little bit, not exclusively. But then you'll start to feel it in your right hand and in your left hand, and you'll know how much of each hand to use in your chip shots. And now I feel a little bit in the right, I feel a little bit in the left, and for each person it's a little different because it's a feeling, and you'll say, oh yeah, I know what to do. And your body will all of a sudden work in unison, and you won't have all these weird motions because you did this, and your body had to do certain things to make that work, and your body has to do certain things to make this be able to go. And then when you get them together, you're like, that's the answer. So do this drill. This is the go-to drill for your chipping game to unlock like that cheat code. When I learned this, where to land the ball, my on-course scoring, I mean, it tanked. I mean, it was great. I dropped so many shots. But it just was trial and error. Nobody really told me this, but once I figured it out, and you're gonna know it right now, is this. Okay, I wanna go at the hole, right? I want the ball to be near the hole. But if it's not, I have to know, where do I wanna putt it from? Because 99% of the time you're gonna have a putt, but I want a putt I'm gonna make. So, okay, where am I gonna make the putt here? So in a situation like this, all right, like it's pretty flat. It breaks a little this way from over here, kind of goes here, and then from over here, I don't want to putt from here because this is downhill and it's, I don't know. So I just might feel it out. I don't necessarily have to walk over here. I just know that this is higher than that. I'm chipping uphill and I don't want a 6-foot downhill putt. That I know. Okay. So this one's pretty easy. I want to leave it short if I miss. But if I do, I want to be kind of uphill. It's not something you have to walk up to the hole and do the whole like 3-minute routine, but you can do it from where your ball is and just say, look, it looks pretty easy right from here to there. So if I can be here, that's great. Like worst case scenario, 3 feet straight uphill, you're gonna make a lot of those. 3 feet downhill, you're gonna miss more than the other way. So now, aiming at the hole is not perfect because you gotta play a little break. So I'm like, okay, where can I aim to where it finishes where I want it to? So I'm like, all right. So if I aim it up in here, this is good because it's gonna break a little left and be left where I want it to be. So now I'm not aiming at the hole. Think about it. When you're putting, you aim outside the hole, this far, that far, whatever it is. Chipping's identical. That's what I had to learn was, oh, I'm not aiming at the hole every time. I'm aiming, okay, just a little bit there, but not too much because I want it to be below the hole when it's all said and done. Well, that's exactly where we were. So you see it broke a little to the left. I've got the putt that I was looking for. But what about a situation like this now? Well, this is a huge break from way up here, way down there. Where do you aim here? Now, a lot of people would just think, well, let me aim way up there. Well, okay, that's what I would do too. I would aim way up there. So I'm aiming 20 feet left. And that's not a bad way to go, but it's getting a ton of speed and it rolls 12 feet by. Okay, that's not the worst thing in the world, but again, I had to think, okay, chances are I'm gonna be putting. What if I take out that whole slope that's forcing it toward the hole and past the hole? How did I take that out? Okay, what is that? Now I have no chance to make it, but I have a much better chance to get it closer. Maybe you're one of those people that think, how do I make it? Well, if you want to make it, yeah, you got to take it way up here and slingshot it down, boomerang it in. And I was always that guy. Many times I'm still that guy. I want to make it. But if we say, I want to make the next putt, well, then that's a very different situation. Now I'm not aiming up here. Maybe I'm aiming here and it'll be short, but right here. And here is a straight uphill, little right to left putt. And that is this big curler that is difficult at best. And so you're probably not making too many of those. So now let's try our chip shot, eliminating the giant slope that slingshots our ball 12 feet by the hole. All right, it's interesting to chip knowing you're not gonna make it. But what you're knowing is that you have a great chance to make the next one. And that's what it's about. Perfect setup, as always. Beautiful. That's a lot shorter than the boomerang shot off the giant slope. I have 4 feet straight, little right to left. Percentage there is high. So you gotta know where to aim, and it's not always at the hole or using the slope. Many times, knowing where to aim is where's my next shot gonna be played from. Then it transforms where you play your chip shot to. Two of the biggest comments or requests I get on my main YouTube channel is this: how do you chip from an uphill lie, and how do you chip from a downhill lie? So this video is the uphill lie part. Next one, last one, is the downhill. Number one request by far, and it drives people nuts. And I get it. It drove me nuts. And I was like, what do I do? Where do I? You know the basic setup. So we've got the same setup. It's perfect. So we got the same setup here. All you're gonna do different with the uphill lie is this. Here's what I do with the uphill lies. And I think it's really helpful to use this versus manipulating the ball position. A lot of people want you to move that ball back. I do not, because I want us to keep the same ball position. So instead of moving that ball back, which de-lost the club, and if you're opening that face at all and you move that back, it opens it way more, and then you got to shut it down, and it shuts it. So whatever club you got, it's 4 clubs less. So I don't like that. I like our same basic setup, but I'm gonna adjust my weight. My weight is now gonna be on my left outside of my left foot, almost as if I've already finished the swing. That's where I want it. That's where I begin. So I've got my setup here, and here I'm not aiming more left. I'm pretty square to my target, but my weight, look at my weight, is on that left foot way out there. And I'm kind of on this right toe, almost here. That's where I set up. When you do that, you get to keep the exact same setup position that you've learned this entire series. All we're doing is getting more weight on that left side. When you do that, you'll start hitting crisper, cleaner shots. But if you all of a sudden do this and back it up and do this, you bring that into play. And we don't want that. What you want is to know that when you set up, it's the same as every shot you've done. All I'm doing is changing my weight. Then you get good results nearly every time, all because you was 100% about your setup. Everything else stays the same. Just more weight on the left side for uphill lies. The downhill lie chip shot. I mean, this is so far below my feet. What do? Do you back the ball up here, way here? Well, that feels good. Yeah, I love that. The problem with that is it goes against everything we just did in our whole setup. I said the setup was gonna be identical for everything. Guess what? We're gonna keep the setup identical for the downhill chip shot as well. Feet close together, weight forward. Now you're gonna almost feel like you're gonna fall down this hill. So your tendency is gonna be to lean back. And when you lean back, you blade it and you belly it and you send it into the bunker on the other side of the green. So we have to know that our setup is critical. I want my weight all the way on that left side. Same thing as before. Ball position center, feet are close together. Same at everything with one little exception. All we're gonna do on this is turn our aim way left. Okay, so all I did was just turn like this, beautiful. And the reason I do this, it just helps me have balance because now I have more foot pointed down the hill. There you go. I didn't move the ball back. The ball's still where it is. I just turned my body a lot like this. And my weight is now more on my front foot, not the toe, but like the last 4 toes on my left foot is where the weight is feeling. And now it's perfect. Now it's the same thing. And you just slide it through just like that. And my weight, I don't have to manipulate my weight. It's still on the front foot. Everything's the same as always. There you go. And it's just the easiest way to hit chip shots when you have a massive downhill lie. The more slope down, the more I'm gonna turn and face the downhill. And weight is forward. Again, it's the same forwardness as always. I'm just sideways. When you learn proper setup, you have proper results. And that's what we want for you, is saving as many shots as possible. You've got all the basics now for your chipping game to go to a level that drops your scores consistently in the 70s. Good luck to you.